Batman Superman World's Finest, issue 7, Mark Waid writing with Dan Mora on the art. So this is the start of our new arc, and our possible sidekick for Superman being introduced, which I forgot that's what the premise of this was. Obviously, it starts off with what I thought was going to be like a version of Batman from another universe or something, because we start in Gotham, and it's very Krypton-esque, where you've got these two scientists putting their kid in a ship, and it's not a baby, it's, he's a teenager, but sending him off before the planet explodes. But instead of going through space, he goes through a rift in the sky to the main DC universe. So that's the setup. Can I just say, obviously Dan Mora did skip an issue, took an issue off between arcs, so I'm so glad that he came back, because the first few pages are great, but it's that first page with Batman in the jet with the Top Gun style mask on, flying the bat plane. I was like, oh man, this just looks so good. Like, Mora just nails some of this stuff.
Wait, is it Mora? Because it says, oh yeah, okay. They have him on the thing they had listed as Moore. So I got, for a hot second,
they had listed done what as well? More?
They have on the cover, it's Waid, Moore, and Bonvillian.
Oh, so I didn't even notice that. No, it's that, I mean, it looked like Mora, and then the credits page says Mora. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why, as I was looking at there, and I was like, wait, no, I thought it was Dan Mora, but I'm seeing on the cover right now.
No, it's not. It's that. I mean, you can tell by looking at it, it's Dan Mora. It looks like his art.
Yeah, you're right. The Top Gun page with Batman wearing the mask over it. I'm like, that looks cool.
Something about the way he draws the characters, but Batman, Superman, and Robin all look great in this book. Supergirl too when she's here, but she's not in this issue. So immediately the kid's freaking out. Obviously they focus on Superman's reaction when he says that his world exploded and he's lost his parents. So and they set up that this kid's powers, he basically releases energy, and it's similar to Superman in that it's the sun that's doing this, but he's not from a different planet like Superman is. He's from a universe where the sun's much colder, so the sun on this earth is like making him super hot, basically.
Yeah. And there's that page where he starts to go off, and it looks like that famous Batman Robin cover.
Yeah.
That was really clever.
Well, they're both pulling their capes for shielding. Yeah. So yeah, obviously they take him to the fortress ultimately, which Robin hops on for. Might we add?
He's riding on his shoulders like he's Jungle Boy, right? And he's yelling up, up, and away. And it's just, again, so we know this is Dick Grayson now, because they've they
established that. Yeah.
And stuff. And so this feels very Dick Grayson-y. So I'm glad. But with how they explain how he ended up there, it's this hyper time type stuff. And knowing what we know about Waid and the multiverse one shot that's coming out. I'm wondering if this is one of those books where this is where it starts to get seeded. I mean, it's this.
He already seeded what he's doing in Batman versus Robin in the first arc of this book. Maybe he's seeding something else in this one. Yeah,
and so, but I'm just saying, so like the stuff that's happening in Flashpoint Beyond is very much similar to this, where they talk about the hyper time breakoffs is what creates parallel dimensions versus multiverses and stuff. So Wade's already getting in there with this type of in-universe continuity. Which I always appreciate. So
and Dick is flirting with a Kandorian inside the bottle, saying everything's bigger on Earth with a cheesy smile on his face. Give me a chuckle. But yeah, so Batman calls him, and says there's a situation, and basically we get to this idea that this is an alternate reality from where this kid's from. So his parents exist here. And we get this very sad scene where he tries to go and talk to these parents, and they don't know who he is, and they get really upset. And part of the reason why they get very upset is because they did have a son on this earth, but he died when he was very young. And it's like, he can't go over and talk to them now, because it'll be too confusing for them. They've lost their son, and then they'll... I mean, there is maybe a point where they'll eventually understand and maybe kind of accept this second chance of like raising this other version of their son. But obviously this opens an old wound. So you get this big full-page spread of Superman hugging... the character, and there's a great moment here between Batman and Superman where they're talking about it, and he says, imagine losing your parents twice in one day. And I kind of love that coming from Batman, because obviously Batman knows what it's like to lose his parents, but he doesn't know what it's like to lose them twice. At least not at this point. Maybe once Alfred's died, maybe you could argue that he's done it twice.
And at this point, Mom and Pop Kent are still around. I mean, he only really knows Jor-El, or Superman probably only knows Jor-El from a projection, right? So
yeah, so for as much as they can relate, there's also a lot of differences with what this kid's going through. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
and I like that Dick's over there just sitting with him, right, in the corner of the Batcave.
Well,
so.
Dick's ultimate plan to cheer him up at the end of the issue is he takes the Batcopter and flies him to Titan's Tower to meet the Teen Titans, and it's the Silver Age Teen Titans. It's Wally as Kid Flash, it's Aqualad, it's Wonder Girl, and
Roy.
Yeah,
Speedy.
Speedy. I was going to say what names he got because he's been Red Arrow, he's been Arsenal, he's been I can never remember when he had what name.
At this point, he's Speedy, the boy archer.
Yeah. So no, I love that we're dealing with some Silver Age Titan stuff. The only real complaint I'd have is that I wasn't necessarily ready for it to be over, and there's a little epilogue scene, admittedly, but I was like, I could have used that. I thought there was going to be more. So, which is maybe just a sign that I was enjoying it quite a bit, and I was into the introduction of this character, and basically it's not so much that the character himself is super interesting, but it's everyone else's reactions to what he's going through that's fascinating, and where Wade's really playing with stuff. The ending, though, we get a little epilogue where the villain here, it says next the Keymaster of Gotham, and this guy does have keys on his fingers.
I'm pretty sure this is the key. Is
that just what he's called, the key?
Yeah.
I think I've read some stories, maybe even on this show actually, in the early days. Maybe there was a key story.
Yeah.
I want to say it was in Titans.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right.
Yep. So,
but yeah,
it looks like the key, but it looks like it's a new version because it looks like he's in Pan's Labyrinth. Dude can't grab the food. So
yeah, basically he's got someone enslaved who is dying of hunger and actually dies as he's reaching out to the food that he's put out for him. So it's a really dark scene. Obviously I've been digging in this book. I think Wade's killing it as far as a very Silver Age style version of these characters go. I love all the inclusion of the other characters that it's bringing in and out. At first arc had the Doom Patrol coming in and Supergirl. This arc seems to be having a bit of Teen Titans. So I'm really digging all that stuff. I love that this is a Batman with Robin constantly. Again, it feels like it's Wade's taste and the characters coming out. So, and obviously Dan Mora's art is fantastic. This looks phenomenal, start to finish.
And it's the art in with the writing that makes it feel like a throwback. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because this does feel like a lost arc of some kind of, the unremembered sidekick to Superman, Boy Thunder. So, and it really is the art that Moore's art with the clean lines and all that puts us in that era.
It feels modern as well. It doesn't actually look like a Silver Age book, but it sort of evokes a Silver Age book while still looking modern. Is the best way to put it. So. Yeah, and part of that may just be using the old costume designs and all the rest of it. The coloring helping out a little bit. But
seeing Speedy with his Robin Hood hat instead of a ball cap.
Oh yeah,
nice move.
Yeah, I wonder what Jay would think of the Robin Hood hat. Is that better or worse than the ball cap to him?
It's part of the costume, I'm sure. So he'd be like, that makes sense. You're Robin Hood's sidekick, and that I think that would be the line that would drive Roy nuts because he hasn't been a sidekick for a while.
No, I had a good time with this. What are you rating World's Finest issue 7?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that score.
Dang,
I can't argue with it.